Many adult children who moved in with mom and dad during the pandemic have stayed. In fact, 48% of young adults are still living with their parents. While this living arrangement can be beneficial, it's important to make sure your kids don't harm your own financial success. Local financial professional Brad Allen from Drake & Associates joined us with tips to help those kids, adult kids, prepare to fly the coop. Brad, good morning. How can an adult kid living at home damage your financial success?
Well, I mean, obviously 48% is a big number, and rightfully so. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world right now from the kid standpoint. Inflation is really high. The prices are a lot higher than they were a couple of years ago for things like a mortgage or rent or those kind of things. And from the parent standpoint is financially, what does that look like? If the kids are moving back home, have you established what that's going to look like? Are you not putting as much away for your retirement as you're getting closer to that? So there's a lot to be said about what's going on in the world and all these kids moving back home with their parents, but some things you can do from both sides as well to make sure you're going to be financially secure in the future.
What kinds of things?
Well, the first one, if you're talking about the kids going back home, is trying to eliminate debt. A lot of these kids have college debt, student loans, those kind of things, but then credit card debt too. So knowing what debt you have and how to pay that debt down is really important. There's different methods to do that. There's the snowball method, which is taking your lowest debt, whatever that is, throwing everything you can at it every single month and making the minimum payments on everything else. And once you have that lowest paid off, you move to the next lowest, and that'll give you some momentum on paying down that debt. Or you could do it the opposite, the avalanche method, which is taking the highest interest rate that you have and throwing as much as you can at that. And once that's paid off, then you move to the next highest. So there's different ways to strategize about paying down debt, but the more you can pay down that debt, that's usually one of the biggest expenses, right? And it's the highest interest especially is going to keep going up as time goes on. And then you can pay yourself first as well, putting money into savings from your paycheck, making that automatic. If it's automatic, you set it up automatically from your paycheck, it's out of sight, out of mind. You build up that savings account for that rent or mortgage payment or car payment or whatever it might be. And then also, as the kid moving back home, I mean, prioritize your future. Make sure that you're putting money away for your retirement. It's not about how much you put into the market. It's how much time you're in the market. The earlier you start, the more your savings start to compound for your retirement someday. So really important from the millennial or the Gen Zers aspect is putting that money away and making sure that they're planning and prioritizing for their future so that they can be on their own at some point. And then from the parent standpoint, making sure that they're establishing when that kid moves back home, establishing what that's going to look like. Are they going to pay rent? Are they going to pay for the food? Is there a clear timeline on when they're going to be out of the house? Setting that up ahead of time is going to avoid arguments and fights and those kind of things in the future. And it's an uncomfortable conversation to have, but a really important one. And then, also as the parent, just prioritizing your future. You're getting closer and closer to retiring someday, making sure that you're putting that money away for retirement, making sure that you have a plan for that. And most importantly, not tapping into that money to help with the cost of the kid moving back home, those kind of things. So it's just establishing different rules and making sure you're prioritizing your future on both sides. That's going to get them there in the future.
Yeah, Brad, the parenting, the teaching, the setting a good example never stops. What's that website again?
You can go to drakeandassociates.net.
All right, Brad, thank you.